Welcome to the Awakening Podcast. You'll find all our episodes on awakeningpodcast.org. Another episode with my good friend Arnold, Sane in an Insane World. Welcome, Arnold.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
So first, I'll just let people know the different shows that I had during the week that I think might be relevant. And one is from the Speaking Podcast. You might be saying, why am I mentioning the Speaking Podcast? And it's because I believe that to get your message out, being a good speaker helps. And this guy, Julian Treasure, he's a sound and communications expert, and he has 5 TED Talks, 11 TEDx, and they've been viewed more than 150 million times, and one of them is the top 6 TED Talk viewed, so well worth checking out. I also had a guest, Christian Ush. It's hard to pronounce his surname, and I know you've listened to that episode, Mysterious Spider Threads and How to Beat the Corrupt System. So that's one that's actually, and I think you can contest that's worth listening to.
Yeah, because the reason it was triggered is I got a mailing from Dr. Anna, and she mentioned that in Switzerland they had a legal case against their federation. You know, Switzerland is a federation, and they had a legal case, and I thought about, well, basically chemtrails, what they're spraying in the air and which gets into your food and the water. And I sent it to you, and you apparently know the guy, so you're already into it. This was, I think I sent it to you on Monday, and it's already out there. So it's totally incredible how fast and whatever. But it's like,
Yeah, I interviewed him on Friday. Yeah, it's because it was so important. And I mean, we're always talking about the fog, the chemtrails and everything. So that's why I got it out.
and I learned a lot about it because, well, in our pre-call we just discussed is that I have to walk uphill, and but now previously I had to stop 2 times to catch my breath, and now I have to stop 5 times to catch my breath. So, and being sick, you are sick a lot, a lot. Yeah, I was sick, and I couldn't even recall whether it was 30 or 40 years ago that I was sick. And so there are famous guys talk about that they are sick. So it's like there's a lot happening. So it's really, really advised to listen to the Christian Ush session, because it's really important, and it's based on research. It's not just based on well, what I do is looking to the sky, but this guy's had 22 months of research. So it's like, yeah, so it's not just like, oh, Arnold, yeah, you see ghosts. No, it's not. Hmm?
And they were also able to cross-reference it with the patent, which kind of proved their point. Another one, and just actually on the fog, because I created the group, Stop Chemtrails Geoengineering, and I'm recording, and it's like fog nearly every day here still. So, we're just being bombarded. The other one that I released on the Awakening was Hollywood Predictive Programming by David Gosling, and obviously TV program for programming. It delves into that, but also talks about a lot about cults and stuff like that. So worth a listen as well. So they were the shows that I recommended that I got out this week.
Yeah, really important.
All right, so we start off. I suppose we'll. Old Donald Boy is always on the tip of our tongue. You couldn't miss this. You couldn't. Everywhere it's about what he's doing. Executive orders and all that. So I know you wanted to touch on.
Yeah, it a lot of things. Well, this week or today, because like you said, we're being bombarded. So it's like every day it's something new. But the main thing, there are 2 things which we today want to touch on. One is the tariffs, and you wanted to talk about what's happening in Gaza. Why I think it's relevant? It's not only the U.S., because it's like this impact the whole world. Because if you raise your tariffs, what he's doing for the U.S., your trade tariffs, which means that if you are in another country and you want to ship your goods to the U.S., something which you've probably been doing for years, but now it gets, 10-15% more expensive, without any reason, that they just put on some tariffs. Yeah. So, and that might say people in the US say, yeah, but hey, my product, the product which I used to buy from Poland, gets 10-15% more expensive. I'm not going to buy that anymore. But that means that the company in Poland loses its business, but you in the US, you have to find a US supplier who provides the same product, which is most likely not the case. So in the end, these things look like, what they got here, to make America great again. It will impact the economy on a global scale in a negative way, and it will impact, well, the economic situation of the citizens, both in the US because their products become more expensive, but also like the company in Poland is saying, well, we're going to lose the US market. So it might sound all tough and interesting, but in the end, it's ruining the economy for you and me.
When the UK came out of the EU for Brexit, there's a lot of trade between Ireland and England, and it just became a nightmare. And anyone that's doing business, even with Europe, and what's strange is prior to the EU being formed, there was always Ireland and England. So how does it change? They just make the local person. And what really happens, Arnold, is that every single product becomes more expensive. Does everybody's salary go up in comparison to it? Absolutely not. So you just become more of a slave to pay for the things that you need based on these things.
Yeah, so it's not only, like, say, the tough talk and it's like, hey, look what I'm doing. Well, you're basically ruining a lot of people's lives. That's what you're doing.
Speaking of ruining of lives, it's his plan to level and rebuild Gaza could potentially stabilize the region by addressing the dire humanitarian and infrastructural crisis in the area. It's he thinks he owns it. Like, isn't it violating international law and their sovereignty of the Palestinian people? Like, for me, it's like we have Northern Ireland, which is part of my country, but it's ruled under the UK. Like, to me, get out. What are you doing there? I think the Argentinians, they don't want the English having the Falklands. The Spanish don't want the English having Gibraltar. And I know it goes on around the world in Africa, loads of the countries, So he just decides, yeah, I'm thinking of having Greenland. And now he just decides, okay, I'm going to take over Gaza. And it wasn't a case of let's rebuild it for the local people. It was like, no, you get out and move into the neighboring countries. And when there was delving into it, it was like, yeah, not really having them back. So is he really doing a favor? Because they're obviously pro Israel, like even through the election. And to be honest, I think what he did was fairly slimy, because before the election, when Benjamin Netanyahu came to him, it was like he wasn't even his friend, and he was kind of showing him, and now he's pulling out the chair for him and everything. It's like, it's all a game. And, nobody decides, yeah, this is mine. I mean, the English done that for freaking hundreds of years, but them days are over. And I don't think they have any right to make a claim on Gaza.
Yeah, but it's quite saddening to see is that from making America great again means the American empire. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, we want to grow.
It's like the one world government, no, is what he's trying to do. 51 state of Canada, and eventually do something with Mexico. It's like, oh, we'll stop the tariffs, but you just become part of us. And same with the currency. It looks like it's all a different angle to do this one world government.
Yeah, and so really, really be careful, guys, before. I'm not saying that you should choose for this side or that side, but this is really going in a direction which impacts us all, because that's what it is. Yeah?
Next one you wanted to touch is the transhumanism.
Yeah, it's a word which starts to pop up more and more in the news, and some very knowledgeable people start. So I think it's a topic to look out for. Is like when people talk about transhumanism. What is transhumanism? is basically that they are replacing your biology with technology. Oh, your brain is not good. Let's implant a chip. Your heart is functioning. Let's put some nanobots in your blood so your heart starts functioning better. So it's totally replacing nature or biology by technology. And a lot of these things might sound cool and interesting and great, which might be the case if you, well, like with Neuralink, this is Musk's brain-computer interface company. If there are people who are totally handicapped and cannot use their hands and they cannot talk or whatever, and then they have some kind of implant where they can at least communicate or touch a device. That is a cool thing. But everything has a flip side. We live in a duality. There's things which are good, and that's what they show. But what they don't show is that if everybody get these technology implanted in our body, because that is what's happening, we don't know what the impact is. We don't know how your body reacts to it. We don't know what it will really do with you. So this has been pushed everywhere, whatever, but it's like, just be careful, because the impact and the consequences are not tested.
And the thing is, you might think, I remember watching, this is going back a good few years, there was people getting chips in their hands voluntarily to work in the corporations, open the door, pay for the device. And like, all you have to do is look at the devices. Like, this is a chip that's going into your body. Any electronic device damages you. So even the AirPods that people do, people think that it goes straight onto the phone from each ear. It doesn't. It goes through your brain. And there's people proving that and showing that. That's why once I learned that, I had them and I just never used them again. And you're putting electronic device into your body, where an electrical field and energy, and it's affecting it, and which will cause cancers and everything. And they know all that. Everything they do, they know. They just do it. But do you think people will stand up and put their hand up and they say, I can get a chip that will do this? Yeah. At the moment, 50+% of the population would be in line queuing up for this. But yeah, same thing, buyer beware. Don't go near it.
Absolutely.
So what I want to touch on, and it's I know you're going to follow up on it as well, is the microplastics. So it's tea bags, because I'm trying to touch on a few things that how to make our life a bit better. And we all have a cup of tea. You know, we like our tea. It's supposed to be shown, right? Research, 11.6 billion microplastics, 3.1 billion nanoplastics in a single cup of tea, the tea bag, right? And then there's chemical leaching. It's a chemical called epichlorohydrin. I can put it in the show notes because it's probably butchering it with the name. And it helps prevents the bags from breaking apart. And basically, they explain that if you've got a bag, if you've got paper, put it into a cup, it's going to dissolve. So you might say to yourself, why doesn't my tea bag dissolve? Like, and sometimes they say it's biodegradable. I had a bio bin, and there was a lot of stuff that didn't break down even after a year. So I think even a lot of that doesn't work. The chemical is to be carcinogenic and reproductive toxin. So there is alternatives. There's biodegradable and plastic-free tea bags. But what I would say is use things like this. This is a metal tea thing. I rip open the bag and put it into that. There's another one. You can just open it and put the tea leaves into that. And even you can get these ones. They're like, you just open it, put it in and close it and dip that into the tea. They're only a few bucks. And I would highly recommend them, because and what I've noticed is with the tea bags, I was told you're getting the crappiest of tea, and it proves it because it's like a dust some of the times. It's even filtering through this fine mesh. So when you buy tea that's in solid tea, it's not that small, and it's better, and it tastes better. So I just say, be careful. It's simple to do, simple not to do. You think, oh, it's convenient. I've just got into the habit of every time I make tea for myself and my son, always do it. So just go away, get it for a few bucks, and just make it. That's your new way of making tea.
Yeah, absolutely. And just some details around the microplastics. There has just been, I think it was last week, a research being published about microplastics in diseased brains, because they're not gonna cut open your and my brain to check the plastics. So they were diseased people, but the number of microplastics in your brain has gone up 50%, 50, between 2016 and 2024. So that is just in the last couple of years. But that means these microplastics, even if you drink something or touch something, it goes what they call your blood-brain barrier. Normally, is like your blood prevents it that it flows into your brain, but these things are so tiny they just flow into your brain and it impacts your brain. It might even cause dementia. It might cause that people are fatigued and a lot of these problems. Yeah, because there are plastics in your brain. And it's not only from the tea bags, it's from your bottle of water, it's from generally from the water, it's from your clothes, it's from everything. But again, it's like this is let's call plastic synthetic biology. It's not natural. So your body is not geared, is not used to deal with all these products which are not natural. So your body is fighting it. Your body is like, what is this? No, it shouldn't be part of me. Yeah. So that is why a lot of people are sick. A lot of people are tired. Well, because your body needs extra energy to deal with these products which are in your brain and in your body, which shouldn't be there at all.
And a lot of fish as well, because some people was thinking it's the straws, and the funniest thing seeing is the paper straws wrapped in plastic to protect them. You know, that's the insane world that we're living in. Like, and that's, I think it was the Seaspiracy, I remember, but it's the fishing nets are the main problem. So there's a lot of tiny little micro plastics going into the fish, which in turn when we're eating it. But there's some people now, they put lots of different foods under the microscope, and there's a load of them, like noodles and all these toxic hot dogs and plastics inside it. And it's like like a part of the ingredient that they're doing. They're just mixing it, and it's because it's so small you never see it, but yet it's going into your body.
Yeah.
So Brussels, you wanted to touch on Brussels. What's happening in Brussels?
Quickly, because the situation with lawlessness and migrants is really getting out of hand. Look at what's happening in Ireland, in the UK, in France. And this week there was a video which is totally incredible in Brussels, in Belgium, is the capital of Belgium. There were clear migrants outside of the main railway station, the Grand Railway Station in Brussels, which is a huge big. They were having AK-47, which is an automatic weapon, and it was early in the morning. They just started shooting in the air, and nothing happened. Well, fortunately, nobody was killed. But it's like, what is this? Well, you're even in Belgium. Well, you can buy them, but it's like you're not allowed to have these weapons. These are automatic weapons. These are the AK-47 is the most used weapon in warfare, I guess, and they're just shooting outside of the weapon. But it shows like, hey, see me, I can do whatever I want. So
Like people don't realize the dangers as a bullet goes up, it comes back down. And that's because a lot of people think shooting in the air is safe, but it's not, because the bullet then gets momentum and comes down and goes straight through your head.
yeah, but it's like, if you these days, if you post something on Facebook or on any of the social media which the powers in charge don't like, they put you in prison. But you can just be with an automatic weapon outside of the railway station and shoot. Nobody cares. So it's really, really we need to get back to well, in Dutch we have a saying is like treat people in the same way. Is like in the local people and the foreign people is like, hey, like this is dangerous and this is not allowed. If I would be doing it, I would probably be put in prison. Huh?
Same. Next one I'm going to touch on is the eggs, because we'd see some of the videos there in the States where you see people just filling their trolley with eggs. Maybe they were hoping to resell them. I don't know. I mean, maybe they don't realize eggs go off, which is the other thing. So, maybe someone thought that they were going to stock up on their eggs for the year. And I had reported this on my TikTok about a year ago, but it's been removed since the channel that I had. But it's an outbreak of highly pathogen avian influenza. They apparently killed millions of birds, and then there's a shortage. But also, if we look around the UK and everything, they're attacking the farmers. They're even people that have their own chickens. It's all regulations and everything. And I know at one stage there was people, they were having the chickens and they weren't laying eggs, and it turned out like someone just said, I let the chickens start eating the bugs and stuff like that, and it was the food that was given. It was all orchestrated. So basically what they're trying to do is because if you've got a few chickens, you'll survive no matter if the supermarket's closed in the morning. It's enough to sustain you, and they know that. So everything that they do is attacking the food source. All the like, why aren't the streets filled with apple, pear trees, and in the hotter countries, oranges and stuff like that? They don't want that, because that means you can survive without them, and they want to be in full control. So yeah, it's just and I mean, I didn't touch on it, but like even with the eggs, the numbering system, I remember, like, I think it's like 3, they're caged, they cut their beaks, and there's so many per square meter. Like, it is so cruel what they've done. And the free range, there's so much trickery with that as well. They're all kind of butched together in a big warehouse. They open the door for 10 minutes and they're allowed to go out if they want. That's classed as free range. So I get mine from the farmer. So just to be aware as well, the trickery. And even if you eat farmer's eggs and then you go into, sometimes, just say he might be out of them or whatever, and you go in and you get the bio eggs, they're not the same. You think you're getting, free range eggs. There's all trickery. So just be careful with that as well.
Yeah, I'm still very happy that you recommended me that, Roy, that I used to buy organic eggs from the supermarket, but you said, well, go to a farmer, find a farmer where you can buy your eggs. I'm so happy you did it, because the taste of the eggs is 100% better. It's incomparable. It's like I cannot even compare the products. Yeah? So it's like it really so really good taste. So I'm really happy you told me that, and now share it with our audience, because this is not BS or whatever, because we don't make money selling our eggs. So it's like it's just really really incredible good taste.
Yeah. I know you were going to touch on the flu as well, because you saw some statistics in Holland, I believe, is it?
Yeah, there was this week. The flu rate in the Netherlands is at the highest level since they start measuring, which is, I believe, 6 or 8 years ago. So they start measuring the number of people with flu. It's now at the highest rate. Is now at the rate of 114 per 100,000. Here in Romania, I also read that here in the city, the flu is at its highest rate. Yeah, so that connects to what we talked about, the fog and the geoengineering, whatever. I think all of those things are related. Yeah? So please don't, well, Roy was sick, I was sick. Well, we still are now and then. It's not your body. It's your body reacting, but it's not like, oh, I ate something wrong, or I should have put on a sweater, or no, we're being manipulated. And I can say that without hesitation. Yeah, so and I think it's important to know is not like, oh, I need to go and, well, even worse, get my flu shot. Yeah, please don't.
Yeah, do not. My mother got very ill from that. And one of the things with the COVID lie, the pandemic, as we call it, the flu went on the holiday. Were you aware of that? If you look, flu disappeared.
There's no flu.
There's no, it had a vacation. It looks like it's after coming back from holidays. No, it's out together. So just just be aware. Everything is attacked. It's an attack on our system. We're bombarded in 50 ways, maybe thousands, for chemicals, and we can make little changes, and it all helps. So there was I suppose USAID. That was an interesting one.
Well, we could have put that with our friend Donald, but I think it warrants a separate approach, because apparently, which is the aid, which is for development, it's supposed to be, well, one of the largest institutions in the world to help poor people. That is why we have aid. We have, well, I think we have UK aid. We have, well, every country, rich country, has its own aid agency to help people who are much, much less better off than we in the Western world. Which is great. Yeah, because it's like, hey, let's share our wealth, help these other people. But now it appears as, number one, they stopped the USA. So it's no, we just complete all the 14,000 people who work there are fired. And it appears that all the money which went in there, which we talk about millions and probably billions, was used not to help the poor people. It was used to influence media, to pay media. The lists are there. I'm not making this up. You can see the list. I saw the list of the Dutch media companies were being paid by USA. Is it like, it is used to influence governments, to manipulate the media, everything. So it's like your and my taxpayer money, which we think, I'm glad if part of my taxes who I pay is help people in other countries who are really, really in a shitty situation, yeah? Where they have no food, they cannot go to school, there's no infrastructure. Yeah. Really, guys, their toilets are just a hole in the ground. Yeah, so everything is like, yeah, in a lot of countries, people still got to walk from kilometers to get some water. It's good to help those people. I love that. That my tax money goes there. But imagine you're in the US and your tax money is totally not used to that. It's just to overthrow governments and influence the media. So that is happening, and it shows how corrupt our world is, and that a lot of things are illusions. The illusion is like, oh, you pay tax, we help poor people. Oh, fine, I'm okay with that. Well, you were not okay with spending your tax money on influencing media companies. And well, we touched upon that last week, and I will do that continuously, is that, yeah, we close it, and we fired 14,000 people. Out of those 14,000 people, there are probably only a handful who know these shady deals. The rest of them are just good-willing people, yeah, who now lost their job. They got families, yeah. A former boss of mine used to say, Arnold, when I managed a very large group of people, is like, for instance, in this case, for 40, you're not responsible for 14,000, but at least for 50,000, because they got a partner, they got children, whatever. So for these guys, it's gone. Yeah, in the US, your social system is lousy. So it's like, yeah, we close your company, goodbye. That means there's a family with children where the man or the woman doesn't bring in any money anymore. So how are we going to deal with that? Those guys are not the crooks. The crooks are the handful of people who we don't even know. So it always is like, yeah, it's great that we're going to close the USA. Yeah, but what about these 50,000 people?
I remember watching a video where a guy's going around asking people what you do, how much to make. And this is well before this happened, but there was one person, I think they're on $250,000 salary working for them. And then you're going, "Oh, that's insane salary." Like, so, there's one thing, some of the stuff that's happening, exposing, because they were sending money to Ireland as well to kind of this gender crap, pushing that. So there's some brilliant things because of exposing that, because I'd say then there's other people will start looking into their own countries. But yeah, I mean, there is carnage, and unfortunately, there's cannon fodder there that are getting kicked out, and yeah, that's just part of the way that life is. And yeah, without a doubt, there's thousands of people that are going to get affected for this. There's one today, this week now, that I found out that I wasn't aware of, because actually in my book, it's about the light bulbs. Um, the, the other bulbs that after the incandescent, with the CFC, what was it? The other bulbs that came after. And it was like such a scam. And they pushed that all over Europe and everything. And it was dirty energy, and you could check with the. So everyone then was like, LEDs, LEDs. And it was like, so I went and got all LEDs. And with the previous ones, they were supposed to last for 10 more years. And I remember I had a commercial property and I put them everywhere. Most of them were gone within 2 years. So that was a lie anyway in itself. But the LEDs, I saw a video, and the guy was saying he'd done a slow motion video and he saw it flicker, and he said, "What's this?" And he found out that they were, and I was like, "No way." The way you just see something. So I went down, done a check downstairs, and there it was flickering. And then when I done research, yeah, some of the LED bulbs flicker so much you don't see it, but they're flickering at high rate, which basically it's going to affect eye strain, headaches, fatigue, and then prolonged exposure flickering may affect mood and sleep cycles. So, like, I wasn't even aware of this. So, I mean, obviously, I'm going to change them, but you can get ones that don't have that, and it's telling you like, oh, you can buy the bulbs that specify flicker free. I didn't even know about that. I wasn't conscious of flicker free. Were you? Did you know about?
No, I had no clue. I had no clue. As a kind of shit we're living through with only LED lights, so I'm like, holy shit, that's not good.
Exactly. So, like, what your man had done in the video was a slow mo, and I was thinking, and then I thought maybe that's just something with the camera with slow mo doing it. But when I started checking it and researched, that's what I found, and I was like, I didn't even know that exists. So, what I would say is, if you've got LED lights, do they say flicker free? And I would say we should go back to the old type bulbs, because I think it's all alive with the energy. Because I was actually mentioning before we recorded about, I saw a guy, and it was like, his grandfather's fridge, and he had the two electricity meters, and it was like so-called top energy efficiency, and there was only a fraction of the difference. And he opened the older one, and you see the seal 10 times better and everything. So we're fed a lie. We're fed a lie that all of these products, before, like, an iron would last for 20 years. I know, you're lucky if it lasts for 20 minutes. It's kind of a guarantee for a year, and then it breaks. And to be honest with you, most of the times you get something, and you don't keep all the receipts and everything. You just go, shit, I'll go in and get it again. Because, I mean, if you look at the product, you go, how are they able to dig the materials, manufacture them, ship them across, and the actual transport, and also the shop having a profit? It doesn't make sense that how cheap they are. But yet we just kind of, go on in life. But that's your homework for this week. Go away and check your LED bulbs. Are they flicker free?
Just like as your Teabags.
Exactly. And just finally, you were going to, there was another AI one.
But just like caring about people who get laid off, I think that's important that we put people centric. Another returning topic is the AI. Last week we mentioned DeepSeek, which is an in China developed AI system, which is much faster and cheaper to develop than the open AI in the US based thing. But a few days ago, I read about Tulu 3. Tulu 3 is an open source. It's truly open source. DeepSeek claims to be open source, but it's not. It's Chinese proprietary in detail. Is truly open source and beats DeepSeek and OpenAI and Claude and Anthropic out of the water. And it's truly open source, so you can use it, you can try it, you can test it. So that is perceived to be good news. But at the same time, I find it like, how is it possible that all over the world these AI things are, well, emerging by the day, I would say. It like, number one, how is that possible? And the other way, like, but what does that mean? What does that mean? It's not like I buy a car and when you bought a car 50 years ago, it could go under 60 kilometers an hour. Yes, and now it's maybe 200 kilometers an hour. But what's the use of having a car that goes 500 kilometers an hour? So that focus on speed and everything, why is that? What's behind that? I don't know. If some of you listeners know it, like, I would like to understand, because somehow it will impact us. And I think there are some clever people in charge, but mainly I had a discussion this week with a friend of mine, and he explained to me, is like, that it goes so fast and it can do things in a different way is not invented by people, but it's the AI itself. So the AI itself makes it possible to go faster. Say, hey, why don't we do it this way? Or let's try this way, or let's try this way. That is frightening, because it means we are not in control.
There is, I mean, I've tested all the different AIs. I've got a load of different ones that I check and everything. And it was kind of, if we look at, some people are saying they'll do all the work by the AI. And even there's some of the youth coming along and they think, yeah, just the AI. But you have to remember as well, life experience. Like, you have managed thousands of people, you've got so much experience. Your question to AI will be so much different to people. And what I've learned, how I actually start to like AI, the more detailed the question that I've got. So that's what they're going to lack as well, the next generation, because your experience and how you phrase something and your own knowledge gives you a way better answer. Whereas most people are just kind of saying, how do I do this? Or how can I make this? And they're getting an answer. So it's important to have your life's experiences.
And basically, the fuel of AI is data. But what is data? It's something that happened in the past. So if you ask a question related to the future, it doesn't know. Or it makes up something. But it's also like, if the data isn't there, well, you told me a few weeks ago, and I did the same, is I just put in, well, who's Roy Cohen, who's Arnold Beekes? Your answer was completely wrong, and I get basically only one answer, and it came up with my uncle who is deceased, and his name is Robert, but my name is Arnold. So it's like,
I got 3 times best-selling author. Maybe it's for the future.
so it's, again, is like, there are huge things happening, and we might say, I don't care, but there's something happening. I don't know the details, but there's something happening, that there's a tool, and we're just a few boys and making it much more faster, which will have a huge impact, because it will impact our lives. So we keep on monitoring it for you, and yeah, just at least be aware of what's happening.
Arnold, as always, thoroughly enjoyed it. For the listeners, you'll find Arnold on braingym.fitness. And also, if you've got something that you want us to discuss, write in. We'll be happy to cover it. You'll find everything about me at awakeningpodcast.org. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, 5-star rating, share with your friends, and comment. We like to read your comments. Until next week, take care.